Welcome back to episode 3 of the Machine Shop YouTube channel. On this episode, we're going to be working on Mark Armstrong's engine. We're going to rebuild this area, so stay tuned. So you may or may not have seen a fellow YouTuber. So this is a Range Rover SBR engine. It belonged to Mark Armstrong, and you may or may not have seen on his channel, this piece left the track.
Oh, the fans blew up.
So it used to be mounted up there. What happened was the part that holds the viscous fan walked off the end of this shaft. Now notice, there's no bolt holding this on. There's no retaining bolt. And for some reason, it's come loose and walked off. When it was on its way off, the belt and the pulley and the fan ripped this entire assembly off. Damaged the assembly here, and it ripped out the front of part of the casing here. So it was like that, got ripped down that way, pulled all this material out. This bit went in there. So stripped out some of the threads, and it's ruined this. So we're gonna have to put this back in. I don't want to say the word bodge. What's a better word for a bodge?
Fix with style.
Fix with style. So it's not the right way of doing things. I know we're gonna get attacked in the comments, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna rebuild this area. We're going to use a 4043 type of aluminium, which is kind of like a sticky all-purpose rod. Really good for sticking to castings like this. And then as we start building the new piece up with weld, we're going to use a slightly harder aluminium called 5356. We're going to remake all of this with just fresh metal. Then we're going to machine it down. Now I can't get this into my mill, so I'm going to have to be inventive and figure out how I'm going to do that. And to put a bit of pressure on top, Matt's coming to collect the engine at 5 o'clock. It is 10 a.m. now. All right. Get cleaning. While that's drying up, we're going to take this off and take this cover off as well. This looks like it pops out backwards when I pull this way. I don't need this completely off. I just need it out of the way a little bit so I can get a rag up behind there to stop the chips of aluminium going into the engine. Water pump seems to be in the way. Water pump's out the way. I can lean it forward, twist it sideways. Means I don't have to deal with this so much. I may not be wrong here, but you have to take the top of the engine off, supercharger out to get at that bolt. So we won't be taking the water pump out. Let's abort that plan and just be really careful that we don't get anything in there. I'll plug up the hole and machine around it, and then I'll do the last little bit with a file and scrape it outwards. Change the oil, Matt. Next step, we're going to die grind this, and we're going to take all the old oily metal off. So we've got something clean and good to weld with. Much better. Will we pull that out and see what it looks like? Alright, so it's took all the swore. So we've cleaned all the old dirty metal up. We've removed most of the oxidized metal. And we've done everything we can to stop little chips going into the engine. What we also have done is put argon into the crankcase, so that will push out any fumes from the inside. And that's kind of the best we can do at the moment. So we'll start rebuilding it now. We're going to put a base of 4043 down. It's a rod that is really good at sticking to shit cast. And then we're going to build up the whole feature with 5356, and it's going to take forever. So, we're rebuilding this part that snapped off the engine. How we're going to do that, as I went over earlier, we keep melting down this rod and shoving it on there with the TIG welder. It's going really, really well so far. As you can see, we're building up in layers, little bit by little bit by little bit. We're only putting on about a millimeter or two at a time. We take one of the rods, we melt the surface with the TIG torch, and then we dip the rod into the surface. If you want to learn how to do that, we do welding lessons for all skill levels. So you can be a novice or say like an experienced MIG welder, but if you want to learn TIG welding, We do classes 7 days a week. Just pop on the website, link here. And yeah, come learn how to weld with me. All the welding's done. Really happy with it. It's gone so much better than I was expecting it to go. Our next challenge is to make this the same level as the old one. We don't know where the old one used to be, but we can get a good measurement off the part that bolts on here and use these faces as a datum. A datum means a reliable piece of information. So this is giving us a good indication of where we should be with this face here. However, we can't get this in the milling machine, so we're going to have to come up with a very inventive way. We might build some sort of a bracket around it, get it all flat, machine up a piece that would sit there, and we can put a die grinder and an end mill into it, and then bring that surface to where it should be. Currently, we don't have the idea yet. We'll figure something out. Engineer. So I've made this out of a piece of tube. This is going to be our router. We'll sit that down there, and it's going to slide around with this die grinder inside. Okay. Once we drop the die grinder end mill or the burr down to the table, that should be it. And then we can turn it on. That'll start spinning. This will be bolted to the engine, and then we can make the top of the mount that we just made the right size. Beautiful. That's the depth we should be at. Now we can start machining the engine. Plunge our teeth. We're going to offer this up now to try and find the hole. That way. So we bolt through there, and then we can use this hole here to pick up where we should be on this pad. Oh, I love that. That's very good. Next thing we do, get a drill bit that fits perfectly in that hole. And this isn't the size that we're going to drill into the engine. This is just to get our center. So it fits in that hole perfectly. If I went in there with a smaller drill bit, it'll wiggle around the inside and won't give me the exact center. So there's the center of my hole. So I'm going to drill my hole, probably about that deep. And then we're going to thread my hole. I'll show you how to do that next. Regular straight tap. When you're cutting that way and putting a thread onto the inside of a hole, pushes all the swarf that way. That's no good if it's a blind hole, it doesn't have an end. So what you do is you have a machine tap that is fluted like this in a spiral. And when they're cutting, they make little curls and they come out the back.
Is that like drills then, essentially, like
Yeah.
it pulls everything out?
Works the same. So I'm going to catch some hate for using a tap in a drill. I don't believe in tapping handles. I think they're invented by big machining. just the brake tabs. Use a drill, keep it square, it'll be perfect. Slow speed, nice and easy. See what curly bits coming out back?
Okay.
Oh, little curly bits coming out the back. I try not to tighten the chuck tight on these, so if they do jam up, they just slip.
Not snap. They're brittle, aren't they?
Last job we're going to do is put a helicoil in. It's a replacement thread. So instead of bolting into the aluminium, you bolt into the steel piece. That threads in here. It's nice and snug now. Perfect. Very happy with this. Change the oil map. Stick around for the next episode where we go through everything that we did for the NEC bike show in Birmingham last November. And we've also got the last leg of Pete's Travels, which I personally find really, really funny. Hit that subscribe button. It really help us out. Thanks for watching.